What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Join the live, join the live, join the live. Shout out to the playback crew, too. This will be a good one, I promise. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? You know, today I was kind of reminded of what I learned back when I first started working in newsrooms, that some people think that journalist days are just open books, just waiting to be filled with your whatever just urgent thing just happened. We are just ready and waiting to just get on it immediately. We have no lives, nothing going on. Nothing else could possibly be occupying our time other than just waiting for something to happen so we can report it for you guys. But yeah, I did hear about the lawsuit and all my replies. I've got a lot going on right now, guys. I've been having a good time covering the Young Thug trial. That's what I was working on. And actually, believe it or not, I kind of have some things going on that aren't work related. If you guys can believe it, I am moving to a new place. That's pretty exciting. It's kind of one of those forced things. I mean, I should have moved up to LA a long time ago, but it's like, when you don't have to move, why do it? Moving's a pain in the ass. But my landlords are selling the place, so they gave me the notice on April 1st that I gotta move out this summer. So pretty stressful, but now it's good because I got a place and I'm all stoked to move up there. This is going to be a really good change for me. But you know, it's a big change and it's a lot of work too. I gotta, do all my stuff. So really, for the month of May, as that Temptations song says, I might not actually be doing all that much stuff other than just kind of tracking the Young Thug trial because I gotta relocate my entire apartment. I'm also working on a big story right now, not related to any of all this. Honestly, I've been a little checked out from all this hip hop stuff the last couple of months, other than the Young Thug trial, which is actually an important trial, legal thing to be covering. I mean, I've never been that big into celebrity lawsuits. The Diddy lawsuits and those sex harassment, sex trafficking lawsuits are a little different, but yeah, honestly, when I heard about this Megan Thee Stallion lawsuit, I was like, oh, that sounds like a West Coast trial lawyers lawsuit if I've ever heard one. Sure enough, not only is it West Coast trial lawyers, it's actually the lawyer who's suing Lizzo. And the complaints are pretty similar. I mean, it's overall, it's an employment lawsuit. And when you look up the lawyer for West Coast trial lawyers who filed it, he's an employment lawyer. This is not, I mean, the harassment charge is hostile work environment harassment, which is a employment charge. That's not sexual harassment. It's definitely not the same as the Diddy case. But LA Superior Court lawsuits too are kind of a pain in the ass to cover. But the Lizzo lawsuit that was filed, first of all, that got so much attention. What was it, last November or something? It was filed. I think it's still just in demur hearings or something where it might eventually get thrown out, but we don't really know. But yeah, I mean, these lawsuits, when I was at the Daily Journal, we do not cover these guys. The Daily Journal does not cover West Coast trial lawyers and their lawsuits. They don't get ranked in the top 100 trial lawyers, that kind of thing, because these are just very, very publicity driven lawsuits. And I mean, West Coast trial lawyers, I bet they do go to trial sometime, but I've never actually covered an actual trial that they did at all. But you can see the complaint right here. It's got 9 claims. This is Emilio Garcia as the individual, Rock Nation, Hot Girl Touring, Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment, Megan Thee Stallion an individual. I don't know why they didn't just identify her by her true name, but yeah, in the end, these Superior Court lawsuits are pretty common, and I can 100% guarantee this will never go to trial. There's never going to be a trial on this. The idea that she's ever even going to actually even appear in court for this, I doubt it. The big question would be, will she ever have to sit for a deposition for it? That's kind of how you can tell when a lawsuit is getting serious or if it's just getting settled. Is she actually going to have to sit for a deposition for this? And that would be private. But I think we're still a long, 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 long ways away from that. But West Coast trial lawyers has kind of a history of just filing these really inflammatory lawsuits, and they get tons of publicity for it in the very beginning. And then most of the time, the lawsuits just kind of peter out or uh, settle for like a small amount of money or something. And you know, I just what gets me about this stuff and all the interest in this is there is so much Fox outrage. I mean, in the end, people just want to harass Meghan because they think, you know, that she lied about getting shot and Tory's innocent and blah 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 blah. So anything like this that happens, they're just like, oh, this is so outrageous. When really, like, it's impossible to get like a straight opinion out of them about this. They're just like, oh my gosh, she's a abuser, harasser. It's just there's no like genuine opinion coming from this. It's all driven by like just this desire to just like hate all over her. It's just like, oh, whatever. But I will admit that I'm reading through it now with you guys, but I didn't read every word of that Lizzo lawsuit. But that Lizzo lawsuit was just like, I mean, they got so much publicity for it. And I remember, I think it was Natalie, the lawyer chick who has the YouTube that I've been on, she said she read it and she was like, I see a lot of stuff in here that's like just kind of people complaining about the way they were treated at work. It wasn't like a legitimate, like legal claim kind of thing. You know, it seemed like it was like kind of mixed in with that. But I don't know. It's just like all the Fox outrage and then all the idiots. It was a big reminder of how still obsessed with me some people are. It's like, I covered this case like 18 months ago, and the Tory Lanez post-trial litigation for some reason just stretched on forever. But, you know, that case was over on December 23rd, 2022 when he was convicted. And what made NBC send a massive exclusive email? God, gross. Yeah, and then in the end, that's just, it's like West Coast trial lawyers just played them, you know, they just sold, you know, got some exclusive to NBC. Like getting a court file and then reporting on it is some kind of exclusive scoop. And all they're really doing is just giving tons and tons and tons of publicity to the plaintiff lawyers and the case, when most legal reporters, I mean, try to stay away from just writing up lawsuits, you know, try to do other stuff. But anyway, I think everybody's kind of heard the gist of it here. It actually gave me an idea, especially with this move coming up. People are talking about how I'm on Rock Nation's payroll. I'm like, the fuck I am. I'm like, am I supposed to be? Where's my paycheck? Like, maybe I can sue for back pay too, because I have not been getting my Rock Nation paychecks, guys. Let's see. Megan Thee Stallion Entertainment. This is just where they go through and identify all the people in the factual allegations, all employment based. Plaintiff was traveling on tour with stuff. I did have to just all the Fox outrage and all the just malicious bad actors who just, no matter what, they would be going after Meghan about something. So of course, something like this, they just, you know, act like it's just the biggest, like, you know, news thing ever. But some people who went through and like confirmed that her photos and her travel schedule shows that she was in Spain when that happened. It's like, oh wow. It's just like, oh my God, dude. And I do think it's funny to think about those. I in no way want to like downplay allegations of like sexual harassment, people feeling, you know, harassed, that kind of thing. It's not good. But just strip out all the names in this lawsuit and then replace them with like people who are supposedly on the other side of the rap beef, and then just imagine what people would be saying and talking about it. You know, it'd be totally different. It's so hard to take these people seriously. Like, but yeah, I 100% guarantee she will never, like, there's never going to be a trial in LA Superior Court for this lawsuit. Like a good one, and I haven't really checked up on it, but a good one to compare this to, because it really is like very similar, it's down to the same lawyer, is the Lizzo lawsuit. And that one right now, I think back in January, there was a demur hearing, which is what you do when a civil claim is filed in California state court and you think it's bullshit, like the defense files a demur, and I haven't actually tracked the litigation, but I don't think there's been a ruling on that. And superior court cases are kind of a nightmare to cover because, like, you'll go to a hearing and they'll have some big argument, and the judge seriously won't make a ruling for like 3 months, and you kind of just realize that you wasted your whole morning at this hearing. But yeah, so just the fact that they shop around these lawsuits like this, like, and they definitely sent this out before it had even been docketed, which, some, I remember when I was at the Daily Journal, because it's hard to get court documents online, and you have to pay for them, and yeah, your employer will reimburse you for it, but you don't get reimbursed for like 30 days. So sometimes it's easier just to try to get the attorneys to send you copies of the documents. And it was always interesting to see like who was very, very willing and just tripping over themselves to send you the documents. Like West Coast trial lawyers, they're just, press releases left and right, everything's right here for you. Here are your visuals, as they said with the photos they included for this. And then there's some lawyers who it's just a different clientele and different people that they deal with. I've had some lawyers who will send me their documents, but they don't want to send me the filings from the opposing counsel because they think it's like rude and disrespectful. Others won't even talk to me at all because their client doesn't want me to. It's just these celebrity lawsuits are just kind of a different area of law. Somebody says they're late. Nelly Nell, you're late. Don't worry, we haven't really gotten into the depth yet, but oh, who cares? Yeah, it's a first time watcher. You seem cool as hell. Well, thank you. I'm from the West Coast, guys. It's Oregon, where it's cool and green and friendly, right? So yeah, we haven't gotten into all the details of it yet. But that's another thing, when like these lawsuits are just so freaking detailed. I mean, I reported on the Diddy Cassie stuff, but I think avid followers of my work would attest to the fact that I have not gotten into all the allegations of that Rodney Combs or the Little Rod lawsuit against Diddy Combs. And I'm not saying one way or the other. It's just like, guys, like anyone can just file anything in these lawsuits, So to just like read all this stuff on air, it's like, I don't know. But somebody says it's their first live, but I follow you on Twitter. Nice. Well, I'm stoked. I want to do more lives. I got to get all relocated. That's, like I said, that's going to dominate my next few weeks. But once I get up there, I'm going to have more space up there and everything. So I'll be able to get into everything more. But yeah, so it's all about, I don't know, the way these things are written, they're written unprofessionally, right beside. They can't say beside planet. They have to say right beside, It's just like stuff that you would cut out if you were editing. But yeah, I mean, it's completely written for the press, like a lot of these lawsuits are. It doesn't have a trigger warning written on it like the Diddy lawsuit. But the Diddy lawsuit was also a lot more serious than this. I mean, look what the Diddy lawsuits led to, too. He had his house raided by the feds. That's definitely not happening here. But really appreciate your work. Thank you. So okay, and this is interesting because there is the wage and hour violations. And what we did cover at the Daily Journal, and I'd have to brush up on it, was there's a huge legal debate in California over independent contractors, and it all relates to Uber and Lyft. But there was litigation in that all the way to the California Supreme Court about who gets classified as an independent contractor and why. That's a whole area of employment law. So that's kind of the legal issue here, is this independent contractor, what was he entitled to? Should he have been, here, it says right here, California Supreme Court, the now infamous, exactly, this is what I was just talking about, the Dynamex decision that companies successfully meet the 3-prong ABC test in order to lawfully classify someone as an independent contractor for purposes of wage order claims. This is the kind of stuff, luckily, I was the Orange County reporter for the Daily Journal, so I never got stuck having to write about this, but this was a huge ongoing issue when I was at the Daily Journal, and we had a labor employment reporter that was like his big beat. But test requires an employer to see that's the thing. People try to act like this is some kind of salacious sex harassment lawsuit. The only harassment claim is that hostile work environment. This is all about back wages. Uh, and it's actually kind of a boring thing where if you're actually going to get into the legal issues of this, you have to talk about this California Supreme Court case like they're doing here. Whereas that Cassie and Diddy lawsuit was a lot different, guys. But yeah, Newsom signed bill, the gig worker law. This is all bringing back memories. Okay, so July 2018 is when Garcia supported defendant Stallion as a personal cameraman, and we've seen the picture that they included, the visual that his lawyers included for us in the media. But on or around September 2019, the plaintiff Garcia quit his full-time job and began his employment with defendant Stallion as a full-time personal cameraman. For all relevant times, Stallion controls and directs the work performed by plaintiff. For all relevant times, Stallion controls and dictates plaintiff's work environment. I mean, that's completely standard. That's kind of how it goes when you have a boss. I mean, but this is just standard stuff that they're including in their lawsuit. They haven't gotten into the bad stuff yet, but used his personal device to stay updated, which blurred the lines, intensely, that's a typo, blurred the lines between work and personal time for plaintiff. More than once, Stallion interrupted plaintiff during dinner and demanded that he immediately shift his focus to assist with her TikTok creative ideas. Plaintiff stepped away from dinner and worked on the phone in a quiet space of a given restaurant. I mean, it kind of gets back into the Lizzo allegations where it's just like people complaining about their old job. Forced to take on a myriad of issues and work much longer hours. 50 hours under close scrutiny and explicit discretion of Stallion, who continuously contacted her at all hours. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for people to get to. It's like, are you guys really that excited? Like I said earlier, like the people who are just freaking out and just acting so morally outraged about this are so fucking disingenuous. It's like, oh my God, give me a break, you guys. I'm surprised that he only made $4,000 a month. But, yeah, whatever. Desiree Perez. She my secret employer. See, all this stuff, people are like, you're on Rock Nation's payroll. I'm like, dude, what? No. How do I get on Rock Nation's payroll? Oh, God. Well, and in the end, when you're like rich and a celebrity, I think you get sued a lot, guys. It's kind of a question of what happens to all the lawsuits when they happen. Like, is she ever going to actually have to go to court for this? I 100% guarantee no. She will never, ever appear in a court of law for this. It is kind of a question of, will she eventually sit for a deposition, which would be done in private, but that would kind of show that this is progressing, because she'll get some defense lawyers who will look at this and maybe they'll file something like the defense lawyers for Lizzo did. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see who she hires, like who Rock Nation, and because especially with Rock Nation being a named defendant in here, they're all just going to have the same. It's going to be a coordinated counsel for sure. Anybody have any questions? I don't have a moderator, so I'm trying to read all your comments as I'm going through here. For all relevant times, Stallion controls and directs plaintiff's work performance, requiring his constant availability by phone for work-related issues, thereby causing severe emotional distress and anxiety for plaintiff. And this is the kind of stuff that, like, they had to have written this just knowing that they will never actually go in front of a jury and argue that. because I mean, some of it, we haven't gotten into the bad stuff yet, but can you imagine going in front of a jury and being like, yeah, he was expected to answer the phone and be available for work, so we want $10 million in damages for emotional distress. It's like, no, it's just that's not happening. But plaintiff was required to stay at the hotel and be at standby at all times. Sounds like, I mean, she's just a demanding boss. I mean, how is this? Denied a meal break. Okay, so this is when we get into the first thing that's actually like a legal issue. All the other stuff before is just like, I was unhappy at my job. As a result of the misclassification, plaintiff was denied a meal break or rest break. In addition, plaintiff was not paid meal or rest break premiums during his entire employment. So this just comes down to like, I mean, this is why Rock Nation is named in the management company, because it's like, should they have classified him differently and like told Megan when she's got her camera on with him, she needs to give him a 30-minute meal break, like when I was at McDonald's and we would get a 30-minute rest break that we had to like clock in and clock out of. Like, during the entirety of his employment with Stallion, plaintiff's hours of employment were not properly recorded due to purposeful misclassification of plaintiff as an independent contractor. See, because that's what this is all about. It's people trying to act like this is some kind of sex abuse lawsuit. No, it's not. It's an employment lawsuit. And yeah, it's just, and in the end, like this issue is even on her. Like Megan Thee Stallion is the one deciding whether the people who work for her, like, are how exactly they're contracted. This is all something that's like Rock Nation, legal advice, like whatever kind of thing. We haven't gotten into the good stuff yet, though. He was uncomfortable with the public displays of affection going on around him. That's another way to describe it here. He didn't have basic insurance coverage, depriving him of essential health care. Plaintiff grapples with mounting anxiety, depression, and physical distress stemming from the toxic work environment. I have yet to hear of anything like too badly toxic other than just like, you know, she was too demanding, but we're only on what, page 11. It's not 40. We've got 42. Hostile work environment, harassment, in violation of what is FEHA? Oh yeah, the California Fair Employment and Housing Act. Making the conditions of his employment intolerable in direct contravention. See, really, the lawsuit, when you actually get down to it, is pretty boring. Granted, we haven't gotten to the good stuff, but it's much more entertaining to go onto Twitter and like read all the replies to me, and then just read all the people who just hate Megan. Like they've just been after her for years. So this is just like, oh man, it's the Super Bowl, guys. Like you it's what is this? I started getting all these replies and like, oh. And then there's all, like I said, it's a good reminder of how obsessed with me some people are. Like, God, in this fucking case, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but I did an interview. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but it was a good podcast interview a couple, maybe a month ago. So now we had a really good discussion. And then at the end of it, he brought up the Tory Lanez case and he's like, so the video. And I just had to be like, dude, I'm just going to tell you right now, there's no video. If there was a video that completely cleared Tory Lanez of shooting Megan Thee Stallion, I think at this point, 18 months after he's been convicted, 8 months after he's been sentenced, I think maybe his team would have released it by now. I was like, dude, and I told him, I was like, can we just stop talking about this case? It's so over. Like I said, I mean, it ended when he was sentenced, but it really ended when he was convicted. So, but anyway, that's why everyone is interested in this. But yeah, I love the armchair sleuths who confirmed that Megan Thee Stallion was actually in Ibiza, Spain in June 2022. I'm like, oh wow, you're really piecing things together here. After a night out, they were riding in an SUV. And I'm a little, I think these, like, everybody is just obsessed with the details on this, but I'm reminded of an Onion article that's talking about how the public took to the internet in hunger, looking for specific details about what those two people did. I don't think that's enough, guys. Started having, is there anything? Oh, it's just, oh, okay. We don't get any more details than that. Come on, West Coast trial lawyers. You don't know how to do this. Uh, Gonna need some more details than just this, guys. The following day, Stallion inquired whether plaintiff was in the SUV the previous night. Ooh. That's kind of funny because the way it was presented, at least in the dumb headlines and the harassing tweets that I was reading, was that like she had like he couldn't leave. She had like forced him to like be in the car while she did this, and then this like confirms that she didn't really fucking know he was in the car. The next morning, she's like, "So are you there?" Oh, whatever. During the same trip, Stallion berated and directed her fat shaming comments towards plaintiffs such as fat bitch, spit your food out, and that you don't need to be eating. Okay. Like I said, the only legal issue that we've read here at all is him saying that he was misclassified as an independent contractor, which is probably just like it is a common thing that this lawyer for West Coast trial lawyers uses as like a hook into all this really salacious stuff from these like ex-employees of celebrities who come to him. But uh, moreover, plaintiff noticed a change in how he was treated and saw a decrease in the number of bookings he received from Stallion. Okay, here's why he's really mad. Yeah. Perez. Oh, okay. Perez. That's Desiree Perez. Perez altered plaintiff's compensation structure from a monthly rate to a pay per task system invoice for each assignment. It's always funny because that, I mean, from the get go, there's a whole nother side to this story. But that right there, I'm like, oh, I would love to know like what the defense explanation for why they did this is, because there's always just some like really unsavory details that come out, or something about like some reason they thought he was fucking up or something. But anyway. Despite the change, plaintiff remained accountable and was expected to provide the same level of service to Stallion. So he's just saying, so it's like, so why did you do it? So they were just like, we're going to decrease your pay and you're just going to keep doing the same thing. It's like, he just decided to say, okay. But moreover, plaintiff noticed a change in how he was treated and saw a decrease in the number of bookings he received from Stallion. Close to other creatives on Stallion's team, plaintiff confided in Stallion's former makeup artist about considering leaving because Stallion had started to hire another cameraman. She's seen another cameraman. Such harassment was so severe and so pervasive that it altered the terms and conditions of employment. Such harassment. What harassment are you talking about? The name calling? Because he says the name calling only happened during Ibiza. Okay, so I guess this harassment and this creating a hostile work environment, I guess that refers to this, a change in how he was treated. Okay, we're going to need more details if you're actually going to establish like a hostile work environment claim. But again, we're only on page 12 here. It's a 42-page lawsuit, guys. We've got a bit to go. So severe and so pervasive that it altered the terms and conditions of plaintiff's employment, creating a hostile, abusive work environment and making his working conditions intolerable. Said harassment was sufficiently extreme to amount to a change in the terms and conditions of plaintiff's employment. As a direct and legal result of defendant's conduct, and each of them, plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer general, consequential, and special damages. Yeah, this is just geared towards some kind of settlement. Because can you imagine taking this before a jury and being like, yeah, my boss was demanding of me, and I don't know. It's just, yeah, he'll get some kind of settlement maybe, or it'll just get all dismissed. I don't know. But also the big thing legally, and this is the one that actually takes a little bit of work and would take me back to being a Daily Journal reporter, is looking up that stuff about the independent contractor and talking to other employment lawyers about whether he actually has a claim or not. Like, is that true? And I couldn't just say off the top of my head whether he does. Okay, second cause of action. Failure to prevent and remedy harassment in violation of the California Fair Employment and Housing Act. So it's still like, what harassment is he talking about? The name calling, like all we've seen is the example of he she called him names during the Ibiza trip. And then they cut his pay and stopped working and stopped giving him so much work. I don't think that counts as harassment. I mean, the first part, if she's calling him names all the time, that's the stuff that kind of gets into a hostile work environment. But just them changing his pay structure and not hiring him as much, like, yeah, I don't think that really qualifies. It's just like the same. Okay, so they're just repeating the same allegations for each claim. Oh, come on, guys. Yeah, no, these lawsuits, man, these West Coast trial lawyer. Like I said, the second I heard about this, I was like, oh, that sounds like a West Coast trial lawyer's lawsuit. And it is. Of course it is. Misclassification. And that's the, I don't know, maybe interesting isn't the word. That's the legitimate legal issue here is his is what the heart of this entire lawsuit is, whether he should have been classified as an independent contractor or not. Yeah. Okay, so one thing, this is a 42-page complaint, but as we can see, I bet this repeats itself like 5 times or maybe 9 times because how many claims are there? The now infamous Dynamex decision. And they're just copying and pasting too. Like, I mean, they've already mentioned this Dynamex decision up top and called it the now infamous Dynamex decision. Like, they need to second reference it this time, but it's just some clerk or somebody just going through and just copying and pasting. They were busy doing the NBC interview about it, you know. Maybe they think they need to have it all written out for each claim or something. I don't know. Yeah, see, this is the same stuff. It's just repeating it. Constant availability by phone. Yeah, we get it. You had to work. It was bullshit. Reminded they're like there's a counseling there's a group counseling place for people who don't like their jobs. It's called The Bar, and they meet at 5 o'clock every day. Uh, Somebody asked what a West Coast trial. It's the name of the West Coast trial lawyers. It's the name of the law firm that represents the plaintiff on this. And they filed the Lizzo lawsuit, the lawsuit against Lizzo. They file all these lawsuits. I know who they are. They work with Newsroom PR. And I mean, I was talking about this at somebody's a lawyer's Christmas party. We were talking about like the lines blurring between PR firms and law firms. And some of these law firms, like West Coast trial lawyers, are basically practically just PR firms, like doubling as PR firms. Trevor Bauer, the Major League Baseball pitcher, he has a law firm. His lawyer's in that case against Lindsey Hill. That's another big example of like sports agency, PR, like all kind of blending into this law firm. And then when you actually look at their litigation, it's terrible. I'm trying to think of other lawsuits I've covered. They represented, he's actually a current federal prosecutor, but he sued the DOJ and alleged a bunch of harassment, workplace harassment and hostile work environment in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Orange County. And of course, it one of those things where the lawsuit is just, let's include every single freaking detail. You know, it's so written toward the press and just like generating outrage and publicity in the very beginning for the lawsuit. And they sent it to me, and I could tell they were like all pissy that I didn't do more with it or like blast it out more on my Twitter. But I'm just like, dude, it's just giving publicity to like unproven allegations and people who are just writing this for publicity. And that lawsuit ended up settling for like nothing later. So it'll be, I'll definitely keep tracking this. It's like I said, it's LA Superior Court is slow going, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it's a good reminder. I should check to see what's going on with that Lizzo lawsuit too, because while the claims are a little bit different, it really is. It's the exact same lawyer who filed it, and LA Superior Court too. So, fourth cause of action, failure to provide meal and rest periods. You know who should have been sued for this is the McDonald's that employed me back in Corvallis, Oregon, back when I was in high school. They used to rip off all their employees on that. It was so bad. So yeah, and this is all dependent on the claim that he was misclassified, that he shouldn't have been classified as an independent contractor, and that it should have been like when I worked at McDonald's and had to take a 10-minute break and then had to take a 30-minute lunch break, 30-minute meal break, unpaid. Unpaid overtime. Those are like that's like the most common labor code thing. And this just gets all into stuff that is like not her doing whatsoever. Like she is not the one who would decide whether somebody's an independent contractor or not. That's like Rock Nation and their legal people and stuff. And so everything that stems from that is like not really her deal. Like the meal breaks and rest breaks, the unpaid overtime. But don't tell yeah, here I'll put the court document in here. But don't tell her haters that. I hope they're watching right now too and just like fuming over the fact that I am not more outraged over this. But yeah, I'll tweet this out too. And yeah, and here they just repeat the same thing over and over again. We've read this. Like for each claim, they're just going to go and copy and paste. $4,000 an hour. Hours weren't properly recorded. But I mean, isn't that just kind of how it is in the entertainment industry when you're like working as a cameraman for some celebrity? Like it's not like working at McDonald's where, you know, you get assigned a shift and you're just going to clock in and clock out. And he's out like partying with them and it, you know, yeah. Yeah. At all times relevant, defendants failed to pay plaintiff overtime compensation for the hours he worked in excess of the maximum hours. And this, again, it all just goes back to, was he actually misclassified as an independent contractor? They're saying he was, and thus he should have been paid overtime and he should have gotten meal breaks. Which, like, I mean, there was a really big rest break lawsuit. Gosh, I can't remember the details of it. But it's like the litigation and the stuff that goes on in California that actually matters. But it involved the Apple store. And that was a really big wage and hour case involving rest breaks in California that just went to the California Supreme Court in the last few years. And I think there's been so many cases that they're actually federal cases, and the Ninth Circuit asked the California Supreme Court to weigh in on California law. Somebody asked if he attached a contract at all. And you know what? He probably would. They didn't file that with his lawyers didn't send that out. I should ask him for that. I haven't. They just sent this out in a Google Drive, so I haven't actually looked up the case file in LA Superior Court. But I don't know if they'd include it as an exhibit there or something. If it was federal court, it probably would be filed, but inaccurate wage statements. Yeah, so this is, I mean, especially it's like we're getting through this. I think we've seen all the good stuff or the salacious stuff. So the worst part is when they went to Ibiza, he says that she fat shamed him, and then the whole public displays of affection with a friend in a car, and he wasn't comfortable with it. But then in that same claim, it even says that the next day she asked him, "Were you in the car last night?" So it's like he kind of admits that she didn't even know he was in there or wasn't even sure he was in there. But somehow this creates like this egregious, severe, hostile work environment. It's like, there was a lawsuit filed. Some lawsuits are just obviously more like serious and real than others, but hostile work environment lawsuits against Tesla that actually went to trial. The black guy who worked at the factory in Fremont and was being harassed there and got a huge verdict. It was like in the tens of million, but then it got thrown out. And instead of settling for something, the lawyers took it back to a different jury to try to get another big award again, but they only got like a couple million, which seems like a lot, but for all the work they put into it. But that was, and to read through this lawsuit and call this a hostile work environment, and then to go read through that Tesla thing and some of the evidence they had, like the drawings that people were making in the factory about him. Yeah, no, people have heard of the Tesla lawsuits. Like those are the kind of lawsuits where you read, it's like, okay, this seems extremely serious. And like you can tell the lawyers who do it have trial experience. Like that's the kind of thing that's kind of geared toward trial. This lawsuit is not. Like, wait, so why was it a hostile work environment? Like, and I'm not, I don't know. I'm trying to, you know, name calling and stuff. It's not nice, but it's like, oh, come on, guys. And like I will say that the huge outrage, hysteria, like get Megan's attention and be like, so you're gonna report on this? You're gonna report on this? How's your friend doing? Huh? Where's the lawsuit? Where's the lawsuit? Where's the lawsuit? It's just like, whoa. Forgot people were like kind of obsessed with me. But defendants intentionally and willfully failed to provide plaintiff with complete and accurate wage statements. It's like, yeah, this is it'll be interesting to see if they even settle because I mean some lawsuits are just like, they maybe they just want to settle because it's bad publicity, but is this even that bad of a publicity lawsuit for? I don't know. I mean, like I said, the people who are freaking out about it are not being uh uh genuous about it, and they're just using it. No, the gangland legacy. No, no, no. You should read the replies, dude. People are pretty into me. Like, uh, no, yeah, no, they're pretty into me. But waiting time penalties. I don't really understand this. And see, all of it kind of the California labor and employment beat is an extremely robust, like active beat at the Daily Journal. It's one of the premier beats. And if you're writing about all this stuff, you'll be on the front page of the Daily Journal a lot because this stuff matters and is like precedent setting in the nation. But it's also kind of fucking boring, guys. Like, and it's also a little bit complicated too. Like really trying to dig into this 2018 Supreme Court ruling and then the new law that passed and then blah 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 blah. Everything that's happened since then. Like, but yeah, because this isn't even. I mean, to say this is like it's not even like the Diddy lawsuit or any of those sexual harassment or sexual assault lawsuits. It's completely different. Violation of labor code. Yeah, just another boring. The one that spices it up, and they had to probably kind of stretch to include that because otherwise it's like this would not get any attention whatsoever, is their hostile work environment. And the only thing they have in there to support their hostile work environment is the Ibiza trip, where things apparently got a little too spicy in the SUV and the fat shaming comments. That's it, guys. Like I mean, other than just his employment classification changed or his payment changed and then they stopped hiring him so much, which is completely within their right to do. It's like, yeah, this is pretty flimsy. And I swear, this is when you really start to realize that a lot of these law firms, they're just walking PR, they're just PR agencies with like law degrees and like filing capabilities in Superior Court. Because I mean, most of this stuff, especially the one with Lizzo, I'm like, if a bunch of Lizzo's like former dancers just like called up Entertainment Tonight and just like wanted to do an interview where they just complain about what it was like to work for Lizzo, like, would Entertainment Tonight do that? I mean, maybe they would. I'm not so sure if even Entertainment Tonight would do that. But if Lizzo's dancers have a lawsuit and a lawyer next to them, it's like, oh, hey, it just completely legitimizes the whole thing. But let me see here. Let me read this here. As far as the things you've just mentioned to spice it up, is there proof in the document of anything he accused her of? No, no, no. And it's not like he says that, he has a recording of her fat shaming him or that, somehow it was caught on video, all that stuff happening in the car. So it would just completely depend on them getting depositions with the other people who are in the car that would like support his story. And the idea that this lawsuit is ever even going to get anywhere near that, because I think if you were going to do a demur or somebody on the defense side, and this is when it kind of gets into, I'm actually not a practicing lawyer who like does stuff in civil court. So I might be a little foggy on what the actual terms are. But it seems like the defense in the very beginning can do like what they're doing in the Lizzo lawsuit and file a demur, basically saying that these claims are not like supported in their own complaint. And I think they would do that with the hostile work environment claim, because when you read through that, it's like, okay, where is the hostile work environment? All this labor stuff is maybe better support. Like, I'm not sure if you could just throw that out in a demur, but maybe you could the hostile work environment, because it's like, what is that, you know? Um, now people are just making something. Your explanation about Tahara being underpaid is that's just how the industry works. Well, no, I'm just saying like him him getting his pay stuff changed. I'm not really sure that's so. Oh man, I've got a hater in there. All this labor and employment stuff sounds so classist. Dude, like, yeah. Oh god. Yeah, like I say, they're just it's so disingenuous. First of all, the interest in this is really disingenuous. It's like this isn't even that interesting of a. But I mean, I did say, isn't that how the entertainment industry works when like you have a whole huge team traveling around with you all the time? Okay, he says he was underpaid, but he says he was underpaid. Like, why did he accept that if he thought that was too little money? But I get the big issue is not that he was underpaid, but that he wasn't getting the overtime that he thought he should get, that they now say he should get because he should have been an independent contractor. Yeah, yeah, they have. Yeah, it's Lizzo, and it's the same freaking case, guys. It's a West Coast trial lawyers PR thing. It's going to settle for peanuts. We're probably not going to hear much about it again. And all her haters are just going to act so outraged every time it comes up. They can't believe it. Oh my god. You know, it's just whatever, dude. It's so boring. Especially over the last 6 months when or what, 4 months, I haven't really been checked out. I've been covering all this other stuff. When you like check back in that like hip hop world, like all the like rap beef back and forth. I mean, first of all, people know all that stuff is fake, right? And they're just making all that stuff up to sell albums and like get people riled up, but it's so boring. Find some real stuff to cover that like actually affects people, you know? But yeah, like I said, somebody was like, "Oh, this labor and employment stuff sounds so elitist." No, dude, I'm actually one of you guys. I used to work at McDonald's. This labor and employment stuff is actually pretty complicated. I'm just saying, like, it's actually real legal stuff that, like, the Daily Journal and people like wage and hour employee, like lawyers follow and write about in California, and that's what this case is all about. So, all right, Bila, this is just some, yeah. There we go. Biblo was banned and their comments were removed. Boom. Yeah, exactly. People ask her to, and it's funny because so many people were just like, "Oh, you're not really doing much today, are you?" Like, they're just, who cares, guys? It's just some dumbass West Coast trial lawyers lawsuit. And like I said, the second I heard about it, I was like, bet it's West Coast trial lawyers. Yep, here it is. Yep. Um, and so yeah, it's a 42-page lawsuit, but it's really like 6 pages. It just repeats the same stuff, like for all the claims. Violation of California Business and Professions Code. And yeah, and all this just depends on whether he actually should have been classified elsewhere. And maybe he should have, you know, that's the thing. That's what this is actually about, is whether he should have been classified as an independent contractor, and thus whether all this overtime and rest break stuff applies. Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. Um can you tweet it? You know, I really don't get much out of tweeting. I mean, um I figured I'd do a live just because I at least get a little bit out of that, you know. But I mean, yeah. I mean, do people just think I work for free or something? I've got to. I mean, I guess I'll tweet out a link to the complaint, but it's also like this is a dumbass lawsuit. Like people can just read or watch my video. I mean, if you look at the coverage I gave the Lizzo lawsuit, I didn't even cover the Lizzo lawsuit. I haven't covered the Little Rod lawsuit. I covered the Cassie lawsuit, but that's a lot different. Um, uh, Yeah, yeah, an independent contractor as opposed to an employee. So they're saying that because he was an independent contractor, he should have been classified as an actual employee, which would have meant that he'd get overtime and meal breaks. But if you think about like what that, it's like, okay, so how much money are we actually talking about here? And I think they've said, millions or something. But if you strip out any kind of hope of punitive damages and the hostile work environment claim, because the hostile work environment claim is what is subjective enough to like actually maybe get you some damages if a jury actually buys that. But what do they even have in there about a hostile work environment? Like they just have like the stuff that happened on the Ibiza trip. But the real actual legal claims are the wage and hour and rest break claims, and the actual damages for that are so little that you kind of wonder. I mean, look, the lawyers have not put that much effort into this lawsuit. The way everything is just copied and pasted, because their chances of actually getting a big return on this are like kind of slim. It's basically just kind of, the PR agency firm of West Coast trial lawyers in action. No, it's not in Pacer because it's LA Superior Court. You can look this stuff up online and pay for it, um, but yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Mike, Mika. Great job on unpacking the suit. Yeah, see, 'cause this is what I need. It's really not worth like just tweeting for free and stuff. Like I like doing the Young Thug video coverage and stuff, and I feel like a ton of people get a lot out of that. But I've got plans for the website and everything and things like that. So I mean, it's not really worth it for me to just work for you all guys for free. But um thank you. The clapbacks, the clapbacks. I was like, part of me just wanted to, I know I should probably just ignore those people and not give them attention, but they're so awful, guys. They're so dreadful. And I first, I mean, I've known it for a while, but I really noticed it when I started going on TikTok more and getting huge followers on there. I'm like, wow, TikTok is so much better than Twitter. Like I have almost 100,000 followers on there. You guys should check me out. But people are just better to me on there. It's just that huge swarm of like, first of all, I mean, they're morons because they like buy into this rap beef stuff. They like think it's real. Like all these rappers like fight and they like take sides and are like digging out dirt. I'm like, you guys are, oh man. Yeah, no, definitely never going to trial. Like she's never going to have to go to court for this. Like Rock Nation will hire lawyers for it and they might go to court, or they'll have to go to court at least once or twice for it. But yeah, this is just going to settle quietly or just disappear. You definitely will get interactions now about this. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I do want to. Like I said earlier, for people who are just joining, I'm moving. I've lived in my place for a couple years now, but I'm moving up to LA in the next month or so. So it's kind of a big move, but I'm super stoked to get up there, and I'm gonna have a little more room, and I'm just like right down there in the mix. So I want to do more lives. Like I want to do a weekly live on the Young Thug trial, because it's just crazy how that trial is just going to be going on for the rest of our lives. But stuff like this and just kind of sharing what's going on, that kind of thing. Yeah, I will. I'll tweet out a link to the document for sure when I'm done. But yeah, they think I'm a paid plant. I'm just like, guys, if I'm a paid plant, where is my money? Like, hook it up, man. Yeah, and I don't think I'll just tweet out I'll tweet a link to my video again and the lawsuit and just be like, I explained how this is actually just kind of a boring like labor and employment lawsuit with a couple of lines about Ibiza thrown in to support some hostile work environment claim, which I don't really see much else support for that. But I'm a subscriber. Thank you, Tori, so much. One thing I got to do for my YouTube is get my merchandise all shown up here. Have you guys seen the mug? Have you guys seen the GEB mug? Got to check out the GEB mug. And I've got a Megan the Reporter mug too. Check it out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes. I've sold 5 GEB mugs today, but I've got like 100 GEB mugs left, like 50 Megan the Reporter mugs. But and if you guys buy them now, it's like you're helping me move, because right now I've got this stack of mugs that I'm gonna have to be like pretty careful with, like load them into the car and get them into the new place. So anything I can sell now, it's like you're helping me move. But I've also got the sweatshirt and stuff. Got the googly eyed bitch sweatshirt. Sold one of these today. Got to get it out there. But I don't have it linked on YouTube yet, unfortunately. But if you go to MeganTheReporter.com, I've got it in there. And my Shopify store. Let me put the link in there. One thing I've got to figure out, and I'm going to get this all set up in my new place, but the shipping. Because right now I've got to figure out and get the shipping set up through Shopify. Because right now I have it set rates that it's usually pretty good, but sometimes I see that somebody paid like a little too much for shipping. So if that happens to you, I will try to I can reimburse you or send you like an extra sticker or something. But I'm still figuring out those rates a little bit. But oh, sorry, I kind of got distracted. We're at the very end of the lawsuit. He doesn't have a number in here because really, like I said, so he didn't work for him for 3 or 4 years or so. It's unpaid overtime, wage, rest breaks, and rest breaks, meal breaks, unpaid overtime. So that's not that much money. Waiting time penalties. We don't see any dollar amounts in here, but the big stuff would be any kind of punitive damages and the hostile work environment. But I'm like, guys, this isn't going anywhere. And like I said, we can compare that to the Tesla racism lawsuits to see one that, one is not like the other. That one was like kind of destined to go to trial and get some kind of big verdict. But this is kind of just destined to filter out. You should. The sweatshirt is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love the sweatshirt. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing on the merchandise. And I mean, I kind of just figured, I was like, well, people have been telling me to. And I guess the idea is you take quite cozy. You didn't say crazy, excuse me. Got bad eyesight in case you didn't notice. But the the idea is you take pre-orders and just see how many pre-orders you get, and then order a bunch of merchandise to fill it all. And I was actually like pretty stoked about the response on it. I was like, well, wow, now I actually like got to do this. But now I've got everything on hand, so I've actually got some orders to fill today. But if you guys get anything in, like I said, not only do the proceeds benefit my journalism, but right now you buying, especially a mug, you are helping me move. Because it would be fantastic if I could just like sell all the mugs in the next like 2 weeks, so I don't have to move them into the new place. But sexual harassment not even being what he's suing for. Yeah, the only thing in there that supports any kind of hostile work environment claim is the fat shaming comment and the uh the the car, what happened to the car. Yeah. Oh yeah, massage more talks. I'm stoked about that. See, that's the kind of stuff that I want to do more. It's like, instead of just like sitting at my desk like waiting for whatever hater to like tell me what I should be writing about, I want to be doing like talks like that and like discussions and like long form stuff. I don't need to just jump on what everyone else is covering. um Sexual harassment isn't involved. Yeah, I'll get it out there. I'm just like, man, I gotta focus on so much other stuff. Like I want to do a little bit more in my coverage of Young Thug's trial. Like I do so many videos on YouTube and TikTok, but I've realized that once a week I should be sending out something to my newsletter that's like a summary of the trial, like with a link to all the videos. Like one of my subscribers actually thanked me for uh, kind of bringing the trial to life to them in my the last story that I did that kind of goes through D'Angelo White's testimony. But all right. Yeah, I love it's interesting. And I've seen so many people be like, "Oh, hip hop blogs should, hip hop magazines should have hired somebody full time to cover this." I'm like, he's a rapper and it's a hip hop story, but it's a court story. And expecting somebody who is not like interested in courts or have like you know, to cover that. I mean, it's a court story. It's lawyers arguing about stuff in court. That's why I like it. But guest appearances, yes, yeah, got to do some guest appearances. I was just talking to my buddy Lou Shapiro, this attorney in LA who's always all over the place. I got to get him back on a live here soon. But is yeah, Megan is listed as a defendant. It's kind of weird that they just call her Megan Thee Stallion. It's like, why wouldn't you call her Megan Pete as George McDessie and Tory Lanez's lawyer always like to do in trial. I'm late joining. That's okay, Clea. Thank you so much for coming in. I'll try to make. I got to kind of make these watchable for the playback crew too. So if you are here in the playback crew, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Biggest fan. What's up, D? Thank you for getting that part out there, Queen Bob. Queen Bob, which is a reminder, I got to get a haircut. You know, one of these, I'm super excited to move, but I've lived in this area for so long. It's going to be a big thing. So you got to like, in the next 2 weeks, I got to do all the things that like all of a sudden I'm not going to be able to do because I don't really live around here anymore, which is good. I'm tired of everything around here, but I got to go to my regular haircut because I'll probably have to find a new place up there. You know, it's a lot of stuff going on. They are already in an uproar about me getting paid off. Well, and it's funny because I've been poor my whole life. Nobody's paying me to do shit. I haven't done anything. Yes, yeah, same Lauren Burke, same lawyer, same exactly, not just the same law firm either, but same lawyer that made the rounds with Lizzo's former dancers is representing Emilio Garcia, which I don't want to speculate. And if I was going to talk to him, I guess I would ask him this. It wouldn't be like the priority question, but it's not hard to imagine that he got this case because Emilio Garcia saw the Lizzo lawsuit and was like, "Oh, I kind of have a case like that," and called him. But who knows? Kalia. You know, I actually have a niece whose name is Aaliyah, so I'm familiar with that name there. But much love from the Jones Day Law Firm in Atlanta. What's up, Jones Day? Yeah, big law. I didn't know you guys were like allowed to like fraternize with, YouTube and stuff like that. Thought maybe they had like firewalls or something, but love your content in the office. Thank you so much, Rome. Shout out to Jones Day too. You guys, I'm trying to think of some Jones Day stuff that I covered in South Orange County. I'm kind of losing my voice. Might have to sign off here, but Jones Day got a federal judge recused from a lawsuit here that I covered a few years ago. Let me sign off here. Woo! Had to clear my throat there. But corporate law attorneys, we get some leadway. There you go. There you go. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Kind of losing my voice here, so I'm gonna have to sign off. But I want to do this more regularly. Just update you guys on what's going on, talk about the Young Thug trial, that kind of thing. So thank you so much. Good night.